And
interesting.
they're different now. The vibe is different. The whole mood and shift will now go on to George, Charlotte and Louis. And they will become...
Prince Harry's name used to open doors across the Commonwealth, but at the 2025 Dorian TV Awards, it barely scraped onto the nominee list, stripped of any royal title. That tiny but crucial omission sent shockwaves through the room, more dramatic than any award reveal could have been. Facing television execs, seasoned industry veterans, and a swarm of global press, Harry's barely hidden anger erupted. He pictured cheers, nods, maybe even a touch of awe. Instead, he got what critics are already dubbing the biggest snub of his Hollywood journey, and the fallout is only heating up. The instant the Dorian nominees list dropped online, rumors exploded. Why Harry Windsor instead of Prince Harry? No Prince, no Duke of Sussex, just an ordinary name in a sea of documentary and streaming hopefuls. And for a man who once marched behind Queen Elizabeth's coffin in full military dress, being reduced to a simple moniker feels like a scandal in itself.
They're going to be really so far removed from the main game, they're not going to be able to get as much money out of being royals.
I think Valentine Lowe wrote that in his book, didn't he? Or I seem to remember Val writing about.
To him, it felt deeply personal and insulting. His name wasn't just cut down, it was completely shaved bare. When he discovered the change, backstage sources say his calm snapped in an instant. His face reportedly flushed red with disbelief and anger. Arriving at the venue, it was obvious something was terribly wrong. Caught on camera, the former royal brushed aside a producer's greeting, jaw clenched and lips pressed tight. Insiders revealed that during rehearsals, he learned his on-screen caption would be Harry Windsor producer, sparking immediate outrage from his team. One source in the green room recalls Harry staring in stunned silence at the document, then finally muttering under his breath.
But he undoubtedly will. You know, he'll be a bald 50-year-old prince, that, you know, a gentleman, you know, someone formerly known as Prince. That's what he will be. I mean, and that will be not the same as they talk about, oh, he's got an appeal with the younger generation.
"That's not my name," he barked, demanding the coordinator fix it before the ceremony, only to be told the awards board had made the final call. And that's when the mood turned explosive. Multiple insiders now confirm Harry raised his voice at the backstage coordinator, insisting his title wasn't merely ceremonial, it's part of his legal name, and dropping it was downright disrespectful. But the Dorian Awards' internal policy is ironclad. No nominee, no matter their pedigree, gets an honorific. Their standard practice is brutally simple. List everyone by professional credit. No doctor, no sir, no prince. If you earned your spot with your work, your name stands alone. And watching it unfold, many in the room were left stunned by the showdown.
It's also trying to kind of make things a bit more positive. I've spoken to some journalists in America who were saying how we love a kind of boy or girl done good. And the fact that for Harry and Meghan, for a very long time, it's...
Hollywood's merit-based system slammed headfirst into royal protocol, and it blew up spectacularly. Critics and onlookers were quick to note that Harry's furious outburst revealed more about his own priorities than his stated principles. He'd spent years insisting he wanted to be seen simply as a husband, a father, a humanitarian beyond royal ties, but this fiery reaction over a missing title tells a very different story. For the man who walked away from the monarchy to carve out his own freedom, Harry's obsession with the Prince label feels deeply contradictory. His refusal to let go of regal status chips away at the narrative of independence he's tried so hard to build.
There's a lot of this, and let's not be too cynical. Yes, he wants a reconciliation with his father. His father has a finite time on this earth. There's a lot of money to be distributed, and I'm sure that's a conversation that needs to be had.
He asked, ultimately, should the king remove...
It exposed the uncomfortable truth behind his Hollywood makeover. He's never dropped the crown. He's just learned to wear it in California. This wasn't a one-off. It's a clear, growing pattern. Harry has spent years juggling a confusing dual existence, leaving royal duties while clinging to royal prestige. From major book deals and podcast spots to Netflix documentaries and speaking tours, every appearance, big or small, carries his royal brand. Even when he discusses trauma, mental health, or veteran support, the Prince Harry label is front and center.
1% said absolutely.
I agree with
Wow,
that.
that's...
You agree with that,
I
Rob?
agree with it. Yeah. I think because I think they've disobeyed the HRH and they've flaunted that. They're now talking about oh, I'm Meghan Sussex. Well, you know,
That title swings open doors, flashes lights, and ramps up anticipation. And that's why dropping it cuts so deep. Without his crown, Harry turns into exactly what he's tried so hard to escape, a plain guy among peers who've earned every accolade without regal airs. Palisades offered a brief no-comment statement after the show, but off the record, a former official muttered, "It's finally catching up to him. You can't have it both ways forever." That line speaks volumes. This moment said it all. The Dorian TV Awards didn't spurn Harry. They simply put him on equal footing with everyone else, and for someone raised under royal protocol and palace hierarchy, that feels like its own kind of rejection.
That they're now talking about, oh, I'm Meghan Sussex. Well, you know, you're slightly, you know, taking the mickey out of the royal family. You're not. You wanted out. You wanted to be American citizens, you know, where titles don't matter. What is the point of having their children as prince and princess?
This forced equality cuts deeper than most will ever know. The real sore point wasn't just a missing title, it symbolized raw power, validation, and control slipping through his fingers. Harry has poured years into crafting a fresh entertainment persona, but that identity still leans on royal roots. The Crown connection delivers attention, leverage, and instant credibility, especially in a world where your name often speaks louder than your work. Stripped down to Harry Windsor, he's suddenly exposed. No armor, no royal shield. He's not Prince Harry. He's not even the Duke of Sussex. He's just another producer in a sea of talent.
They don't need the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in front of their name. Harry and Meghan, they know, you know, we know who you're talking about. So no, I think if you're not involved and you're not a working royal and you're not really part of it, then yeah, remove the titles. I also think
feeling unmoored from the institution that once protected him has fueled a wildly erratic public image. Whether storming off sets, threatening lawsuits against journalists, or squaring off with media platforms daring to probe his family history, Harry's struggle to manage his public persona is painfully obvious. And the Dorian TV Awards fiasco just poured gasoline on the fire. This wasn't a silent oversight. It morphed into a symbol of his worst fear, becoming irrelevant without royalty. Some backers insist leaving off his preferred title was a harmless gesture considering his mental health advocacy and documentary work. But the counter-argument hits harder. Stripped of regal recognition, Harry is starkly exposed as just another producer in a crowded field.
Princess is, you know, apart from the first section, and that probably wouldn't be a bad way of going forward, really, for the royal family, you know, with George, Charlotte, and Louis, to not keep extending this prince and princess thing and just have.
This award ceremony exists to honor talent, not titles. In a hall brimming with self-made filmmakers, directors, and producers, letting a hereditary honor slip in would have shattered the event's spirit. The Dorian Awards Committee later released a brief public statement. Every nominee appears under professional credit alone. No honorifics, upholding our commitment to fairness and industry standards. They never singled out Harry by name, but the message was loud and clear. His royal title wasn't up for debate. It simply wasn't on the table.
Royal family, prince and princesses all the way down the line. Yeah, I'd remove the title. They pretty much damned themselves about that. They didn't want to be part of the royal family. They trashed the institution, so why do they need the titles?
Rhiannon, are you part of the 91% that Rob clearly is?
No, I think we've had enough.
None of this was political, none of it personal. It was pure policy. That's why Harry's explosive reaction is so telling. He wasn't offended, he was fighting a system that refused to bow to his royal rank. After the dust settled, headlines went wild, some sympathetic, others downright mocking. British tabloids dubbed it Prince Le Premier. Meanwhile, US outlets zeroed in on the stark contrast between Harry's public humility and his behind-the-scenes demands.
Have already been taken away from him, so his military affiliations.
I never say him though, is it? It's
gone.
us. It's us. I'm thinking about like the 91% saying, well, a bit of an, you know, he's taken all his stuff. Yeah, he's lost a lot, and he has. But you know, that was given to him to serve, not given him for 5 minutes. It was given him for life of service.
I still think if you cut Prince Harry and
social media, as expected, exploded into a meme storm. Clips of Harry leaving early were edited alongside past royal ceremonies, highlighting a jaw-dropping before and after moment. Yet the sharpest backlash came from Hollywood insiders. Behind the scenes, the chatter grew louder with every new meme. Several producers and publicists at the event spoke anonymously about their discomfort. One called Harry's behavior off-putting, insisting it felt like he walked in expecting a red carpet just for his name. Another insider shot back, if this was supposed to be about content and creative impact, he blew it by making it about himself. These aren't casual barbs, they reveal exactly how the industry now views him.
And you look at what he does through Invictus, and you see that very clearly. I think what they would argue is the way that they show those elements of service and duty are different now.
I just
think it's enough. I think enough. And actually,
that was given to them for a reason. It was.
Now that Meghan and Harry are diving into a tougher battleground in production with shrinking streaming deals and higher stakes for fresh ideas, public perception is critical. From a PR perspective, Harry's public tantrum might just top his list of worst blunders. Instead of letting his project speak, he made the news clamoring for royal recognition, not creative impact. It's a massive branding flop for someone who climbed Hollywood by blending heartfelt vulnerability with royal flair. This fiasco threw that delicate balance completely off kilter. Critically, insiders argue this misstep distracts from his mission to build a reputation on merit alone. Even insiders whisper of fatigue setting in around his inner circle.
In anticipation of service, people like the Duke of Kent, who are still turning out now, then he was given that title, and he was done a lifetime of service. Mm-hmm. They did a lunchtime of service.
Well, very good point. I mean, the late Queen was, she felt very strongly about titles as well. It was something that, she felt was...
An ex-Archewell insider spilled that the team is now forced to double-check every mention of Harry's name, calling it a pressure cooker before any public event or publication. This relentless micromanagement not only bogs down their entire workflow, but also chips away at the goodwill they've worked to build. And the public is starting to sense the disconnect. Longtime supporters who once applauded Harry's royal exit are now raising eyebrows at his fixation on title recognition. If he genuinely craved freedom from royal expectations, why cling so fiercely to that crown? If he truly wants respect as a creative producer and mental health champion, shouldn't his projects, not his pedigree, do the talking?
As well, it was something that she felt was important, that the people respected their titles, used their titles correctly, and I do wonder, what if she was 30 years younger, what kind of view that she might have taken on it. But
legally, have they done anything yet where they have?
Why does he sabotage his own chances by turning every moment into a status showdown? The Dorian Awards didn't embarrass Harry, he did it himself with that over-the-top reaction. The show carried on, winners took the stage, and headlines marched forward. But for Harry, this wasn't just an off night. It was a watershed moment when the crown he clung to started to crumble. Not by a royal edict, not by viewer ballot, but by the ruthless gears of an industry that no longer cares about your pedigree, only what you produce now.
Aviation is on the cards. I think we're talking about this new PR team.
Yeah.
We're talking about, them coming over to London and Harry wanting to come back to the UK. It's important what the public think. It's important what we write, because it does change what they do and what tactic.
Under the bright stage lights and glaring banners, Prince Harry shed every title, no longer a royal, no longer a star, just Harry. But that raw human moment hit a wall. For the first time, his name alone wasn't enough. By dawn the next day, Harry's Dorian TV Awards outburst dominated headlines among royal watchers and Hollywood insiders alike. What should have been a quiet nod to his mental health advocacy and streaming projects turned into a full-blown scandal about entitled behavior and image control. The real question on everyone's lips, why did losing a title spark such a massive overreaction from a man who voluntarily left the crown?